And the first thing we're going to do is, so we have the graduated cylinder. We'll be doing all of the measurements in here. And so first thing we're going to do is put this on the balance. So I'm going to move this. There is some discussion in the chat. That is something, you know what, actually I need to redo this because so when I have this closed, it is zeroed, or at least it was. But we have it open, right? So, and we're not closing it with, so I'm going to re-zero this. We need to re-zero that. So let me do that. One other thing I'll mention here, that we normally don't have this white paper on top of the balance. The reason for that is the metal plate provides some glare that makes it difficult to read. So that's why that's on there, is to cut down on that a little bit. So I'm going to put this back on. We're going to remeasure that. And I'm going to move it a little bit so you can see that. So that, if you're not able to read that, that is 29.43 grams. So again, write that on the top of part A as the mass of the graduated cylinder. We'll be using the same graduated cylinder for each measurement. Actually, let me just double check that I'm telling you the right thing in terms of it. Yeah, so empty graduated cylinder right there. If you have, it's fine to have this conversation in the chat about how you're going to do the next part, but also if anyone has a question on a measurement, let me know. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and start going through our liquids. And so I think the first one is liquid A. So I'm going to add that to our graduated cylinder. Okay, so we've added some liquid A, and then I'm going to put this on back on the balance. And you will write that number down as the mass of liquid A plus the graduated cylinder. If you're having trouble with that, it's 51.1. It's going between 1.8 and 1.9. So I guess in this case, you do get to guess that last digit. Let's go with 51. Let's go with 51.18. So that is the mass of those together. Now the next part is the tricky part, measuring the volume. So we will try to get this set up so it's not sideways. I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. Okay, so this is the volume I think this is about as good as we can expect here. So just to point things out, the longer line down here is 20. The longer line there. The longer line up here is 30. And then you got shorter lines 21, 22, 23, 24, kind of a somewhat longer line for 25. And then you go 26, 27, 20, 29, up to 30. So a few things I want to remind you of here. You want to be guessing the last digit. So when I said 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, etc., those are not the last digit, right? There's one more beyond that that you'll be guessing. So again, remember to do that. And remember to be reading from the bottom of the meniscus. I'm going to leave it here for just a minute to see if there are any questions before we go on to liquid B. Again, so I can see that some people it might be more difficult to make out some of the details from the phone. The main thing is that you are remembering to guess and that you're within the bounds of the ones that you're not guessing. So I think most people got the idea there. So I'm going to dispose of this and we will move on to the next liquid. One thing I will say here is that if we were doing this in the lab, I would do a little bit more to make sure to dry out the cylinder before adding the next liquid, because we have analytical balances in the lab. This balance only goes to 2 decimal points, so this will be fine for what we're doing today. Okay, so what I'm going to do this is liquid B. We're going to do volume first because we're already here, and then we'll transfer over to the balance. So I'm going to adjust that a little bit. Actually, maybe a little bit. Okay, so here we have the 30 is way down here. You might not even be able to see that. Let me get the pointer into this kind of thing. So 30 is way down here. 35 is kind of in this region. 40 is up here. So the longer line, it might be easier to kind of, yeah, this is liquid B. It might be easier to count kind of down from the 40 than counting up from the 30 in this case. Remember to look at the bottom and remember to guess last digit. Feel free to take a screenshot if you want to discuss it more in your group in a little bit. Are we ready to find the mass? We adjust our camera. Okay, first thing I want to make sure that we are still 0. Okay, it looks like it is still 0. I'm going to maybe move the light off that a little bit. And then we'll put the graduated cylinder on there. And there is the reading for the mass of liquid B. That is 65.30 if you're having difficulty reading that. So that's the mass of liquid B in the graduated cylinder. Any questions on that before we go on to liquid C? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to liquid C. So I'll be disposing of this. then we'll get, let's see. All of these are things that are safe for me to be using at home if anyone's concerned about my floor. I spilled some stuff earlier. So liquid C, yes, to the question in the chat, everything we're doing on the balance. So the first one was just the cylinder by itself. Everything since then is cylinder plus liquid. And I think someone asked about, is this for A? The last measurement we made on the balance was for B. And we're actually about to start on C. So if you need to go back through and discuss that more in the chat, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and put liquid C on the balance. So again, before we do, we double check it is reading 0. So it is correctly zeroed out. And then we put this on the balance. And that is our mass for liquid C, 59.98 or 99. You could do probably 98 or 99. So it is trying to guess that for us. I would probably go with the 98. Okay, so there are a few questions that are in the chat. This is liquid C. We have not done the volume yet for this one. We will do that next. Yeah, so this is the mass of liquid C in the graduated cylinder. We have done these in kind of a different order each time in terms of doing mass or volume first, simply because of making it easier in terms of moving equipment around. Okay, so I think we should go ahead and move on to the volume for this one. And that will be the last measurement before we go to our breakout rooms. I did see that question in the chat. Well, I will get to that once we get through this last measurement. So yeah, we can talk about things a bit more. Okay, so this is liquid C. And let me go ahead and grab this in again and point things out. So 20 is way down here. 25 is here. 30 is up here. Again, you want to be guessing the last digit, reading from the bottom of the meniscus. Okay, so yeah, let me move the light back. We move that based on the balance. So thank you for pointing that out. Is that better or?